what it's like dating a female covert narcissist versus a BPD woman. My name is Jared Mello, and this is an episode of Mello Mentoring. I've been looking forward to doing this video because I have antidotal experience with both a female covert narcissist and a BPD woman. And first of all, I'm not a clinical psychologist or an LCSW or a therapist, so this is antidotal evidence, but I have certainly studied hundreds of hours of content and literature, and these are my findings. So first, the female covert narcissist. She is a woman that, when you meet her, she will mirror everything about you, and it will appear, if you believe in soulmates, that this woman is your soulmate, right? You'll have a blast with her, and she'll be fun, and her goal is to make you fall in love with her. The catch is, she has no intent on staying with you, or even being with you long term. It's all a temporary thing with the female narcissist. Now, let's compare and contrast that with a BPD woman. A BPD woman has something called a favorite person. And before I go on, so both BPD folks and narcissists, they do the three stages. They love bomb, they devalue, and they discard. But they look differently. And they look differently for this reason. A BPD person, a woman, they have a favorite person. And when they meet the person that becomes their favorite person, they will certainly love bomb / idealize. And they really want things to work. Now, a BPD woman, it's very difficult for her to attach or to truly love because of all of her childhood trauma. And this is one of the things that presents itself in the beginning, is that a BPD woman will have more depression, will have more mood disorders, and they will be on the surface. You will be able to see them. They're often aware of their issues, and they're there. They'll talk about them. And this is extremely different than it's like with the female narcissist. She appears like a normal person. She doesn't really talk about being depressed often at all. She might be a little anxious or insecure, but overall, she seems more put together. Now, what you begin to notice with the female covert narcissist is it's really difficult to pin her down. And the reason why this is because she constantly needs admiration and sources of supply. Now, she may have a main supply, but we're not going to confuse that with a BPD's favorite person. Because for this reason, the covert narcissist will see any sort of men or whatever sexual preference she's into at all times, regardless of how it's going with the main supply. She's still going to be open to cheating and to getting with them and to getting the admiration from them. She'll often be a pushover, so she might even have a main supply and she'll tell another guy she can't sleep with them, but then she'll do it anyway because she's a pushover. She lacks a solid sense of self, but she absorbs and becomes formless. She becomes like every man that she starts hanging out with. And every new man, if they become the main supply, she thinks that they're the person that might make things all better, but she doesn't really understand what she's all about. She doesn't understand why, once she gets a man to fall in love with her, that she begins to value and then discard him, because they go through the cycles. They go through. And once they see someone's human, they can't idealize them as well anymore. They just can't. And so it becomes very difficult for them. It becomes difficult for them to just see past someone's humanness. And then they need to find the next main supply, the person that's going to make things all better. But they're still going to be open to all of their other sources of supply the whole time. They'll have the old harem garage, is what they say. Now, the BPD favorite person, they do really want it to work with that person, but the disorder just seems to get in the way. And maybe the mood disorders and the depression also get in the way. But it seems a little more real with the BPD woman than it does with the female covert narcissist. Now, another big difference I've noticed is how they triangulate. If you ever were to call out a female covert narcissist on being with others, she will deny it vehemently and lie about it. And the best explanation for this I've heard was from Dr. Grande. He said that a narcissist finds the truth offensive And I find that to be exactly true. They are really repulsed at what they do. They're repulsed at the fact that they have so many sources of supply and need all of that admiration. They want to be considered like a saintly prude, almost. It only goes after one person at a time. So, say maybe you'd want to have an open relationship with a narcissist. That won't even fly because they can't even be honest about it. The truth of who they are absolutely offends them. And so when they triangulate with you sometimes, it's really just to see you squirm. They get off on seeing the supply on hand squirm and fight for her. But it's not because of the reason that a BPD woman triangulates. A BPD woman will triangulate her, usually her favorite person, to try to make him love her more. And because she feels like she's not getting enough love from him. And she wants his love. And so though she goes about it in a toxic way and triangulates and maybe subtly shows how Tinder dudes will talk to her, or shows and talks about all these other dudes that talk to her, and because she wants that love. Now granted, it still won't end well, but it's for a very different purpose why they triangulate. Another thing a BPD woman will do is they self-harm. And they self-harm in a variety of ways. Sometimes it's cutting. Sometimes it's binge drinking or using of drugs. And other times self-harm could be just getting with a terrible person and harming themselves that way by sub-communicating to themselves, this is all I deserve. And so they get with people that are really just no good. Maybe even people that their friends have told them not to get with, but they'll do it anyway. Now, narcissists don't really seem to self-harm in that way. Like, they like their supply, and they will triangulate, like I said, but it's for a very different reason. They do it to get the old duper's delight is what they get. They like seeing people squirm. And the thing is, once someone really falls in love with a narcissist, the female covert narcissist, her interest begins to wane. And she'll get distant, and she'll never give you real responses as to why the ultimate discard happens. It'll just be like, oh, something very trivial, or oh, I got busy, or oh, things just came up, or oh, you misunderstood what I said, or my intentions were never to make you feel that way, or, and if you call them out on other people, they may be seeing, that's just my friend. And they have all of these textbook responses they go to. And if you're a man and you're not used to that, the whole female covert narcissist experience will devastate you and leave you traumatized, right? You cannot catch feelings for a female covert narcissist. You just can't. Because if you do, she'll pull you in, cycle you through those stages, love bombing, devaluing, discarding, and you'll be left broken. You'll be left traumatized. That's what they do. And granted, as a guy, if you could truly keep your feelings out of it, you may try to be a friends with benefits with one. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could try. But you just cannot rely on them to be truthful. You cannot rely on them to be faithful. You can have a great time hanging out with them, especially in the love bombing phase, but that's it. Ultimately, the best thing to do with the female covert narcissist is no contact, and that's it. That's really the best way to heal and get through the whole scenario. Now, if you realize a woman's a female covert narcissist and they're just a friends with benefits, or you're just dating casually, just realize that will be what happens. You cannot let yourself fall emotionally dependent on her in any way. You can't catch feelings for her. You should not. You can have some fun, but the second you notice yourself becoming attached, you better abort, because it's going to be a very painful experience for you. Because the female covert narcissist is insatiable. She will always want more supply. She'll always want new supply, and she's always manipulating to trying to get it. And she has a garage full of dudes. The more attractive the woman is, the bigger that garage full of dudes is, and she tries to keep them all on the leash. She'll like all of their Instagram posts and Facebook posts, and she always wants to keep you on the hook, because she never knows when she's going to need you as a source of supply again. And she may have a main supply, but she never truly loves any of them. She may think she does at first. She may have a fun time with them, and a man may have a fun time with her too, but that's it. That's where the party stops. Now, the BPD woman, they have their favorite person, but they are pretty much incapable of truly loving and attaching until they work on their childhood trauma. Now, the benefit a BPD woman has is they usually know they have an issue, way more often than a narcissist woman does. The reason for this is most often narcissists cannot admit when they are wrong, they can't admit they have a problem, so they can never even begin the process of getting better. But a BPD woman can admit they have a problem, but it still seems extremely unlikely that they do really change and do really work on that problem. There's therapy known as DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, that's been proven to be pretty effective, but it becomes hard for them. They don't actually follow through with it. So they have their favorite person, but they can't truly healthily attach until they try to recover from the disorder. But that's no small feat. And so what will happen to a man in a relationship with a BPD woman is she will split. Right? And so when BPD women split, then they'll cheat. Then they'll do anything because you're out of their life. And all it takes for a BPD woman to split is maybe you've messed up one small thing, and she'll amplify that weakness. Or she perceived you to abandon her, or you did abandon her, and that will trigger her fear of abandonment, and she'll go off with another dude instantly. She won't do that normally when she's with her favorite person and things are going well. It's not to say it's impossible, but it can happen, right? So when she's with her favorite person, that's usually it. She might entertain slightly others, but it's not until she splits on her favorite person is that she is 1,000 times more likely to cheat. And it all depends on what the splitting process is for each BPD woman. If it's months, weeks, months, yeah, there's probably most certainly another dude in there once that happens. Now, if you're in a serious committed relationship with one, yeah, and if she splits, it absolutely could happen. She can absolutely cheat on you. Which also reminds me of the difference of what happens to when a BPD woman drinks versus the covert narcissist drinking. So a BPD woman, when she drinks, is actually more likely to lie and more likely to fib about what's going on. And she can actually be more truthful when she's sober, which is the exact opposite of the covert narcissist, where when she drinks, the covert narcissist, the truth can come out. But when she's sober, that is when she lies. And that's a huge difference to me. Now, it's not to say that a BPD woman can't also be truthful when she's drinking. But it's just more likely for her to say something like, oh, I was drinking, for the BPD woman, I was drinking, so I did X behavior. It's excusable because I was drinking. I cheated because I was drinking. I did this because I was drinking. And it seems to be her failsafe. Now, you have a conversation with the female covert narcissist, and she's drinking, she'll actually begin to tell you the truth. The safe in the vault will begin to open, and you might not like what you find. And she might actually try to take it back, too, when she's sober again. Oh, that was not the truth. I didn't mean what I said. I didn't mean this. It's like, no, people tend to tell the truth more when they're drinking, unless they're BPD. If they're BPD, they use it more as an excuse for whatever bad behavior they may have. And so these are the things to keep in mind. And this is mostly about relationships because the title of this video is what it's like dating a BPD woman versus a covert narcissist woman. And both of them can certainly be very painful. But you can also learn things from both of them too. You can grow. You can learn things about how you are in relationships, and it can toughen you up. But ultimately, it'll be certainly a painful experience. And I'll say with the covert narcissist, there is zero chance that the relationship will work because she's a liar and she'll always be cheating and trying to find new supply. I won't say it's completely impossible with a BPD woman because people have been known to recover from BPD with DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy. So it's possible, however unlikely. And if she's not doing her best to take care of herself and work on her disorder, there is zero chance it will work. Bottom line. You can try to love both disorders through it, but I would certainly not recommend that because you're just going to hurt yourself and you're going to end up disrespecting yourself at some point. And you can't continue. You can't continue to love yourself if you're going to continually disrespect yourself and hurt yourself. Bottom line. So I'll be curious your thoughts on this video. Do you agree, disagree with this take? Have you had similar experiences with BPD women? Have you had similar experiences with covert narcissist women? I'd love to find out. So with that, thank you for watching, and have a good one.